Hello everybody, today we'll be doing something a bit different. This was a suggestion by one of my best friends, Gavin. I was recently recording this and I had to free up space. Anyway, that's a different story. Let's do this. Clowns. Some people love them. Others are scared silly by them. The urban legend of the clown statue falls into this scary category and has been making the internet rounds for at least a decade. And even though this tale has never been proven real, stories of killer clowns are based in fact. He's not that scary. He seems like someone I want at my birthday party. Anyway, let's get started. The creepy clown. One sec. What was that? Okay, now I'm just getting paranoid. Let's do this. I think if there's any sound, the ghost would see my content and go right away. Anyway, let's get started, shall we? Okay, here we go. A number of variations on this urban myth appear. This chain letter version first circulated online around 2006. Subject: forward clown. This creepy or what? A few years ago, a mother and a father decided they needed a break, so they wanted to head out for a night on the town. So they called their most trusted babysitter. When the babysitter arrived, the two children were already fast asleep in bed. So the babysitter just got to sit around and make sure everything was okay with the children. Later in the night, the babysitter got bored and so she wanted to watch TV, but she couldn't watch it downstairs because they didn't have cable downstairs. The parents didn't want their children watching too much garbage. So she called them and asked, one second. So she called them and asked them if she could watch cable TV in the parents' room. Of course, the parents said it was okay, but the babysitter had one final request. She asked if she could cover up the large clown statue in their bedroom with a blanket or cloth because it made her nervous. The phone line was silent for a moment, and the father, who was talking to the babysitter at the time, said, "Take the children and get out of the house. We'll call the police. We don't have a clown statue." The children and the babysitter got murdered by the clown. It turned out to be that the clown was a killer that escaped from jail. Wow. So that was a pretty nice story. It's a happy ending. Alright, now I shall do another one. This one looks pretty scary. Russian sleep experiment. Alright, I'm only gonna do a couple more of these. That's really scary, by the way, even for me. Okay, let's get started. This one is called The Vanishing Hitchhiker. Let's keep on going. A newlywed couple, Nathan and Heather, were driving up the northern California coast to spend their dream honeymoon in a quaint bed and breakfast with a seaside view. They had hoped to arrive before dark, but a heavy fog had descended on Highway 1 and their progress was slow. They were at least an hour and a half from their destination as night fell. If you've ever driven that stretch of highway, you know how torturous it can be with its narrow lanes and switchback curves. It was just as they were rounding one of the curves that they passed a solitary hitchhiker, a young woman in a wispy white dress, standing on the shoulder with a thumb outstretched. By the way, if you ever see something like that, just keep driving. Like, why stop? I mean, that's where all the horror movies start. Anyway, back to the story. Good luck getting a ride on a night like this, muttered Nathan under his breath. "Stop the car and turn around," said Heather. "Please, she's all alone. We have to give her a ride. We're 2 hours late. Please." Nathan pulled off the road and turned around. As they approached the girl from the opposite direction, they could see her dress was in tatters. Her face was pale and gaunt. "Can we give you a ride?" Heather asked as they pulled up beside her. "Oh, thank you," said the young woman, who appeared to be in her late teens or early 20s. "I have to get home. My parents will be worried sick." "Where do you live?" asked Nathan. "Just down the road, about 10 miles, she said, climbing into the back seat. "There's an intersection with an abandoned gas station across from there. It's a white house with a rose garden. They're waiting for me." As they made their way north again, Heather attempted to make conversation, but the girl fell silent and slumped in the back seat. apparently asleep. After about 15 minutes, Nathan spotted a dilapidated service station. Is this it? He asked. Hey, is this the intersection? Heather turned to wake the young woman and caught her breath. Nathan, she's gone. What do you mean she's gone? Nathan said, pulling into the driveway of the White House. How can she be gone? She was right. The hitchhiker had vanished. A light came on and two people, an elderly couple, stepped out onto the porch. Can we help you? The man asked. He looked as though he dreaded hearing the answer. I don't know, Nathan began. We were driving and we picked up this hitchhiker, a girl, and she gave you this address, said the man, and and asked you to bring her home? Yes, said Heather. And then she was gone, Heather nodded. You aren't crazy, the man said, and you're not the first. She was her she was our daughter. Her name was Diane. She passed away 7 years ago, killed by a hit-and-run driver on the highway. They never caught whoever did it. I guess her spirit won't rest until they do. Nathan and Heather were speechless. Won't you come inside for coffee and tea, said the woman. You've had a shock. Come in and sit down. No, thank you, but no, we're late, said Heather. We have to get going. After exchanging uncomfortable goodbyes, the newlyweds departed as they had arrived in stunned silence. That was pretty spooky. Let's keep going. No. Okay, this one is great. A classic. By the way, guys, please tell me in the comments if you enjoy this kind of thing. I am reading this in my room, and I think it's more comfortable with me recording it. Anyway, she just told me to do music videos. I'm going to say no to that because I want the free reign of my content. But don't worry, I just want to try something new. And also, before I start this other story, I'd like to say I will not be uploading for a week because I'm for spring break, which on Sunday I'll be going to Cleveland and Philadelphia. And I will not be taking my gaming setup with me. So that's just a heads up. So if I don't upload, I'm not dead or anything like that. Alright, anyway, let us keep going into this dark place. Alright, here we go. The legend of Bloody Mary and the terrible fate she inflicts on those foolish enough to summon her has been around in one form or another for hundreds of years. Sometimes the evil spirit is known as Mary Worth, Hail Mary, Mary White, or Mary Jane. Her tale emerged from British folklore in the 1700s and took on new life with the advent of the internet. Is there any truth to the story? Mary's story. Chain letters have been circulating online since the 1990s when email first became popular. In some versions of the story, the ghost of Mary kills anyone who summons her. In other versions, she merely scares the wits out of them. This version was one of the first to appear online in 1994. Let's begin, shall we? When I was about 9 years old, I went to a friend's for a birthday slash some slumber party. There were about 10 other girls there. About midnight, we decided to play Mary Worth. Some of us had never heard of this, so one of the girls told the story. Mary Worth lived a long time ago. She was a very beautiful young girl. One day she had a terrible accident that left her face so disfigured that nobody would look at her. She had not been allowed to see her own reflection after this accident for fear that she would lose her mind. Before this, she had spent long hours admiring her beauty in her bedroom mirror. One night, after everyone had gone to bed, unable to fight the curiosity any longer, she crept into a room that had a mirror. As soon as she saw her face, she broke down into terrible screams and sobs. It was at this moment that she was so heartbroken and wanted her old reflection back. She walked into the mirror, find it, vowing to disfigure anybody that came looking for her in the mirror. After hearing the story, which was told very scaredly, we decided to turn all the lights and try it. We all huddled around the mirror and started repeating, Mary Worth, Mary Worth, I believe in Mary Worth. After about the seventh time we said it, one of the girls out in front of the mirror started screaming and trying to push her way back away from the mirror. She was screaming so loud that my friend's mom came running into the room. She quickly turned on the lights and found this girl huddled in the corner screaming. She turned her around to see what the problem was and saw this long, fingernail scratches running down her right cheek. I will never forget her face as long as I live. Pretty spooky. Ooh, I quite like my spooky voice. How about you? Oh, no, we are not doing any spiders, okay? Don't do that. I think I'll do this one as my last one. I know there's about a lot more, but I just want to finish this video and upload it, you know. Alright, below is one of many examples of the urban legend, the babysitter and the man upstairs, that teenagers have been sharing since the 1960s. A married couple were going out for the evening and called in a teenage babysitter to take care of their 3 children. When she arrived, they told her they probably wouldn't be back until late, and that the kids were already asleep, so she needn't to disturb them. The babysitter and the man upstairs. The babysitter starts doing her homework while waiting a call from her boyfriend. After a while, the phone rings. She answers it, but hears no one on the other end. Just silence. Then whoever it is hangs up. After a few more minutes, the phone rings again. She answers, and this time there's a man on the line who says in a chilling voice, "Have you checked the children?" Click. Think that means it's off, guys. At first, she thinks it might have been the father calling to check up, and she got interrupted, so she decides to ignore it. She goes back to her homework, then the phone rings again. "Have you checked the children?" says the creepy voice on the other end. "Mr. Murphy?" she asks, but the caller hangs up. She decides to phone the restaurant where the parents said they'd be dining, but when she asks for Mr. Murphy, she is told that he and his wife had left the restaurant 45 minutes earlier. So she calls the police and reports that a stranger has been calling her and hang up. "Has he threatened you?" the dispatcher asks. "No," she says. "Well, there's nothing we can really do about it. You could try reporting the prank caller to the phone company." A few minutes goes by. Kill me. Kill me, kill me, kill me, kill me. Oh, sorry. I did not mean to say that. I thought that this thing stopped recording. I'm so sorry. Because it happened before anyway. After this story, I'm actually going to finish this. So sorry that I cut off mid-sentence and I said that. I'm actually really sorry. Have you seen him? Alright, sorry. I'm gonna try and get back where I'm really sorry about that. A few minutes go by and she gets another call. "Why haven't you checked the children?" the voice says. "Who is this?" she asks, but he hangs up again. She dials 911 again and says, "I'm scared. I know he's out there. He's watching me." "Have you seen him?" the dispatcher asks. She says no. "Well, there isn't much we can do about it," the dispatcher says. The babysitter goes into panic mode and pleads with him to help her. Now, it'll be okay," he says. "Give me your number and street address. And if you can keep this guy on the phone for at least a minute, we'll try to trace the call." "What was your name again?" "Linda." "Okay, Linda. If he calls back, we'll do our best to trace the call. But just keep calm. Can you do that for me?" "Yes," she says and hangs up. She decides to turn the lights on so she can see if anyone's outside, and that's when she gets another call. "Why would you turn the lights down? Turn them up." "It's me," the familiar voice says. "Why did you turn the lights down?" "Can you see me?" she asks, panicking. "Yes," he says after a long pause. "Look, you scared me," she says. "I'm shaking. Are you happy? Is that what you wanted?" "No." "Then what do you want?" she asks. Another long pause. "Your blood all over me." She slams the phone down, terrified. Almost immediately it rings again. "Leave me alone," she screams, but it's the dispatcher calling back. His voice is urgent. "Linda, we traced that call. It's coming from another room inside the house. Get out of there now." She tears to the front door, attempting to unlock it and dash outside, only to find the chain at the top still latched. In that time it takes her to unhook it. She sees a door open at the top of the stairs. Light streams from the children's bedroom, revealing the profile of a man standing just inside. She finally gets the door open and bursts outside, only to find a cop standing on the doorstep with his gun drawn. At this point she's safe, of course, but when they capture the intruder and drag him downstairs in handcuffs, she sees he's covered in blood. come to find out, all 3 children have been murdered. That's pretty sad. Anyway, tell me if you enjoyed this stories that I've been reading, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Have a wonderful day. Bye, Charlie Gang.